Okay, so this week I thought we would work on some inversions. So Steve, if you have a wall space behind you, that would be great. And we're gonna work very slowly and methodically to getting upside down. And we're gonna work very much on strength and stability first before we try to get up into something that might be a little bit more mobile. And the real emphasis behind this is, I don't know about you, but I have just been feeling kind of Jenny's tenseness. It feels like the weather's been all over the place. It's been very windy, and then it's cold, and then it's hot, and that's been one thing. And then work has been another thing. And then just like life in general has been another thing. And so when you're working with the energies according to Ayurveda, this is very vata, which means everything is moving. And so you need to ground things, you need to heat them, and you need to stabilize them. So that's what we're going to do in our practice today. All right. So for today, I would like you to have 2 blocks and a blanket. And we're going to start today by taking our blanket like so. And then I want you to fold that in half until it looks like so. And then we're going to fold that again in half until it looks like so. Great. And for you guys, can you actually just stagger a little bit? So maybe either you move forward or Jenny moves back or something like that. And then we're going to place these at the top of our space. And you're just going to come onto your abdomen and you're going to stack your elbows on this blanket. And you can walk your elbows as far forward as you want to. And then you're going to put your happy little forehead on the backs of your hands. And you can widen your feet as far apart as they want to go. Let your knees just knock in and touch. Toes knock in and touch. And the first thing that we're going to do here is notice if you need to adjust the position of the arms, if it feels like the elbows are resting on that. Notice if you need to position or adjust the position of your head so it feels like your neck is resting on that. And you're going to take the first few moments here to take a few big audible breaths in through the nose and audible breaths out of the mouth. Yeah. And you'll take 2 more just like that. Big, big belly breaths in, big audible breaths out. And as you continue to be here, you might now start to tone the back of the throat, close your lips, and very consciously just breathe into the abdomen. And as you're breathing into the abdomen here, you can notice that perhaps the belly will start to distend into the floor. And my low back people especially, you might feel that this inflates the low back, creates a little bit of spaciousness around the sacrum and that lumbar region. You might find that with the arms in this orientation, you might have the capacity to breathe into the belly and then start to extend into the back and the ribs. And as we're here for these last 3 to 4 breath cycles, the impetus or the invitation is to just notice what your breath is doing right now and see how you can keep this breath as steady, as smooth, as front of mind as we go forward in our practice. So one of the fun things about life being a little vata deranged, as Judith Hanson Lassiter might call it, is that we can forget this very simple thing that can ground us in every single moment, in every single situation. And for vata especially, what we want to focus on is having what's called samavriti, so the inhale being equal to the exhale. So for these last 2 breaths here, you're just focusing on letting the inhalation and the exhalation be equal, letting them be steady and even. Great. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start to move on. Bend just your right knee, draw the right knee towards, or rather right heel towards your butt. And you're going to just take some little ankle circles here. My creaky individuals, notice if there are pops and cracks. And you'll just take a few one direction, and then you might take a few the other direction, and you're just paying attention to how this feels. And once you feel pretty balanced between the sides, go ahead and come to stillness, keeping that knee bent. I want you to fan the foot out to the right. So like dropping the right foot towards the floor to the right and then letting it come towards the left. So you're just feeling how the thigh bone moves in the hip socket. And you're just going as far as feels good to you. So just think of like a windshield wiper with the right foot. So the whole right foot's going towards the right, maybe touching the floor, maybe coming back up and going over to the left. So it probably is not actually going to touch the floor. It really depends on how much internal rotation you have in that hip. Yep, and then you'll come to stillness. You'll release that foot down, lift your head, switch whatever hand is on top, and then go ahead and bend the knee, and let's try the other side. And again, you're just paying attention. So Vata deranged, what that typically feels like for us is that we feel rushed, and so we want to rush even further. We feel stressed, and so we feel like there's more for us to do. But in most instances, what we need to do is just slow down, tune in, become aware of what's going on. After you've done your ankle circles both ways, you'll take your little internal and external rotation with that thigh bone. So the left foot will go to the left and then it'll go to the right. And as best as you can, see if you can keep the right hip on the floor. So you're just seeing what that left leg is doing as it rolls in and as it rolls out. And it doesn't have to be big. You're just noticing what the body wishes to do. Great. And then you'll go ahead and come to stillness with that. Release that left foot long. Cool. From here, bring your awareness to your pubic bone. I want you to press your pubic bone into the floor and start to lengthen your tailbone straight back. Now spread your toes wide on that left foot and press the top of the left big toenail and pinky toenail down into the top of the floor. And again, you're going to straighten that left leg and lengthen your tailbone all the way back towards that left foot. Great. Press your pelvis into the floor and bend your right knee now. Awesome sauce. Flex through that right foot. Press your pelvis back down into the floor. Lengthen your tailbone back and see if you can lift your whole right thigh up and away from the floor. Happy days, there's our glutes. Now, see if you can take one big breath in. On your next exhale, keep that right thigh lifted. Start to straighten your right leg long, keeping the whole right leg away from the floor, pressing into the top of the left foot, reaching back through your tailbone, point through that right foot, and then lower the foot all the way down. Press into the top of the big toenail, pinky toenail of that right foot, lengthen your tailbone back, and then start to bend your left knee. Flex through that left foot, press your pelvis down, lengthen your tailbone back, and on your next in-breath, lift that whole left thigh up and away from the floor by pressing down into the right foot. Nice job. Next exhale, kick that foot straight back. Whole left leg stays lifted. At the very end, you'll point through the toes, reach back, and lower the foot down. Awesome sauce. All right, we're going to do both legs now. Go ahead and bend both knees. Press your pelvis down into the floor, lengthen your tuchus straight back and flex through the feet. As you're ready, see if you can lift the thighs up. They might only come a millimeter. That's great. Keep lengthening your tailbone back. Next exhale, start to kick back through your feet, straightening the legs. At the very end, you'll start to point through the toes, little supermen, superwomen, and then you'll lower the feet back down. Awesome sauce. Happy days from here. Go ahead and take a breath. Notice that you were probably holding your breath through that whole thing and Samavriti did not exist. And if so, no worries. Go ahead and bring your hands now alongside your hips, palms face down. Awesome sauce. Widen your hands just a little bit wider than your hips. Yep. And we're just going to add on to that. So engage the left leg, top of the left foot presses into the floor. Pubic bone lengthens back, or pubic bone pushes down, tailbone lengthens back, and bend just your right leg once again. Flex through that right foot. And I want you to see if you can slightly hug the shoulder blades onto your back. Next, inhale, push down into the pelvis, lift that right leg. As you exhale, draw the pubic bone in even more and start to kick that right foot back, keeping the whole right leg off the floor. At the very end, you'll point through your toes. And then you'll release the right foot onto the floor. Nice job. Engage the right top of foot into the floor. Draw your tailbone back, scoop the pubic bone up, and then start to bend your left knee. Flex through that left foot. Draw the shoulder blades onto the back, heart and sternum reach forward. Next, in breath, see if you can find a little bit more length. And exhale, lift that left thigh up. Kick the leg back as you're ready. Keep the leg strong and straight. Point through the toes and then lower down. Awesome sauce. Let's see if we can try both legs. Next inhalation, see if you can take a deep breath. Exhale, bend both knees. Flex both heels. Lengthen your tailbone back. Draw the low belly in and then lift the thighs away from the floor. Nice job. Exhale, start to kick the feet straight back, keeping the thighs away from the floor as much as you can. Quads engaged, point through your toes. And then exhale, lower down. Awesome sauce. Bring your arms up and alongside your ears, cactusing the elbows. Great. Now from here, step your right hand next to your right shoulder. Take your left elbow out to the left just a little bit. You might choose to straighten that left arm completely out to the left or keep it bent at a 90-degree angle. You might keep both of your legs straight or bend both of your knees, but you're going to roll over to your left and find a fun little stretch on the front of your left chest. So both legs could be straight, both legs can be bent, but you're going to breathe into that left pec. Or you could do one of each, yep. You're gonna breathe into that left chest region and you're just gonna notice what you notice here. Keep pressing into that left elbow, left hand, drawing left nipple over to your right thumb. And then gently you'll make your way back onto your center, back onto your abdomen. Nice job, and then we'll try that on the other side. So right elbow goes to the right, left hand steps next to the left, and then you'll roll towards your right, and you've just got a few breaths here. Now, one of the things that's funny about Vata is apparently if you focus too much on the exhalation without an inhalation to balance it, you can just make the Vata even more aggravated. So I want you to make sure that you're breathing on the in-breath and on the out-breath, and that it's even, that it's steady, that it's consistent. Nice job. You got one more breath. And then you'll make your way back onto your stomach. Nice work, guys. From here, let's go ahead and bring our hands out to the side. Let's hope we have a little bit of room. Yep. And then you're gonna do what I think is kind of fun. You're gonna make snow angels just with your arms. So if you don't have room to go all the way up and above, no worries, go as high up as you can, but see if you can keep your arms away from the floor. So no worries. So fingers not touching the floor, making little snow angels. You might touch your friends. You might touch some stuff in your room. And you're just seeing how the shoulder blades can work here. Nice job. And then the next time your arms swim back, we're going to go ahead and keep them there. Interlace your hands at your low back. And I want you to bend your elbows onto your back. Now you can play for the first few breath cycles here. I'm sorry, what? Oh, bend your elbows and see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades onto your back. That sounds really weird. And you can move around here for a little bit. So notice what it feels like to shrug your shoulders up, shrug your shoulders down, feeling what it feels like to pull out through one hand, pull out through the other. I want you to see what it feels like to have the shoulder blades interacting with your back. So once we get to the inversions, you'll need to understand how the shoulder blades are working in concert. Awesome sauce. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and add on. So I want you to first come to a still neutral spot, bring your awareness to your pelvis, push your pubic bone down, lengthen your tailbone back and start to energize your legs. And then when you're ready, you're gonna reach back through your toes so much that they float up and away from the floor. Keep a slight bend in your elbows, and on your next in-breath, let's start to draw your sternum forward, draw the shoulder blades onto your back, and then start to lift your head. Great. As you're ready, you might start to reach back through those thumbs, almost scrubbing them against your sacrum to lengthen the tailbone back and lift a little bit more of your chest. Awesome sauce. When you're ready, you'll go ahead and inhale and open your legs. Now lift your chest a little bit higher. Keep your chest that high, close your legs back together, and we'll stay here for 3. Notice if you're breathing, tailbone's lengthening back, inner thighs are lifting for 2. Shoulder blades are hugging onto the sternum, sternum's reaching forward for 1. Next exhale, you'll lower all the way down. Bring an ear to the mat and just take a moment to pause. Shall we do that again, or are we ready to move on from that? Okay, we got one ready to move on and one we can do it again. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that one more time. So your hands will come back behind your low back. Try opposite awkward interlace this time. Pubic bone presses into the floor, then lengthen your tailbone back, energize your legs. When you're ready, toes reach back and then they float up. Sternum reaches forward, shoulder blades come together, ears lift. Yep. And then open your legs a little bit, lift your chest, lengthen the tailbone back and close your legs together. And you've got 3, breathe for 2, breathe for 1, lower all the way down. Nice work, guys. Awesome sauce. Let's go ahead and plant our hands alongside our lowest ribs and press up to a tabletop-ish position. Now for this, I want you to be very mindful. So when we come to tabletop, make sure your knees are directly underneath your hips, and then just draw your big toes to touch. So knees under hips, big toes touch, and then push your butt back towards your heels. So you're still looking forward at your happy hands. And then you're going to start to walk your hands forward a few inches. As they come forward, I want you to push down and forward into the tips of your fingertips and maybe lift the heels of your hands away from the floor. Maybe start to lower your chest towards your thighs a little bit more and lower the forehead towards the floor. And we've got about 4 breath cycles here. I want you to notice what happens if you really come to the tips of your happy fingertips and push down and forward. And then on every exhale, scoop your low belly in and weight your pelvis down. And so that you can find a little bit more weight by just pushing down and forward with the fingers, scooping the belly on the exhale and saying, hello, low back. Let's find a little bit of spaciousness. Let's find a little bit of ease. And then you might also find that if the chest is resting on the thighs, this might be creating a little bit of traction in the upper spine. And again, we're just pausing and we're breathing. We're pushing down and forward with those hands. We're scooping out through the belly to weight and anchor the hips. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and come forward, hands and knees. Tuck both of the toes under. And sit yourselves back up for happy toe squat. And while you guys are doing this, I want us to just take some little wrist circles. We're going to do a few serratus push-ups. So you're going to do this while I'm distracting you. But once we come into our serratus, you're going to keep your arms completely straight. And we're just seeing if we can melt our hearts with sad little cows from not California. And then you're going to push it away. But the elbow doesn't bend. So this happens, but the elbow doesn't bend. Okay, so when you're ready, let's go ahead and come forward, hands and knees, tops of the feet to the floor, pitter patter if you'd like, or take a counter stretch if you'd like. And this is the fun part. Let's go ahead and come forward, hands and knees. If your knees are sensitive, you might put a blanket underneath them. Otherwise, you'll be good. And we're going to separate our hands about shoulder distance apart. And the very first thing that we are going to do is I want you to drop your heart between the gates of your arms. So shoulder blades hug together on the back body. You can let your head drop if that feels like that helps you understand what's going on, or keep it lifted. And then you're going to push the floor away and lift the shoulder blades wide on the back of the heart space lifts. Yep. And you'll do about 5 of those. So heart melts and then pressing the floor away. Yeah, happy serratus. And so we're just coming back to neutral with these first ones as we press. So we're doing part of it, pressing and lifting. Awesome sauce. Okay, here's where the fun part starts. Now, the next time your heart starts to melt towards the floor, I want you to stay there. See if you can lengthen this distance between your hips and your armpits. So they go away, but your heart still melts to the floor. The shoulder blades still squeeze together on the back. From there, slide your right foot back, tuck the toes under. Sorry, Eric, I'm really cold. And then I want you to see if you can hug your hip bones together, keep the heart melting, and then step your left foot back to meet the right. So we're in a weird ass plank. Yes, we are. Shoulder blades are coming together. Elbows and armpits are reaching away. And hello, this is suddenly a different part of your core. You're going to breathe for 3. Yes, we are. Heads are lifted. We're going to breathe for 2. And we're going to breathe for 1. Knees lower to the mat. Hooray! Wasn't that surprisingly hard? Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. All right. Sorry, not sorry. We'll sit back up. And we're going to do the next half. So this is your little break. So the next time we just did the serratus where I let my heart melt. Now this opposite one is I'm just going to push this away. So again, my elbow is not bending and I'm lifting as much as I can, almost seeing if I can find my shark fins of my serratus. So we're going to push up. All right, let's go ahead and come forward to plank. Well, that's where we're going, but hands and knees first. And you're just going to see what that feels like. So you're now pushing the floor away and your shoulder blades widen a lot. And then you just come back to neutral. So neutral and then widen scapula, hooray, and neutral and widen scapula, hooray. And you just got about 5 of these. And you well, this is actually strengthening it as well, especially once I make you hold that plank, which we're gonna do, of course we are. Okay, and then the next time you find your upper back domed, we're gonna pause there. And I want now you to really pay attention here. So now you're gonna press down through the index finger and thumb. You're gonna press wide through your pinky fingers like you could tear your mat apart. And then this time we're gonna slide our left foot back, toes curled under. Keep pushing down through your hands, scoop your low belly and step that right foot back to meet the left. Happy days. Lift through your inner thighs and squeeze your butt cheeks. There we go. And you're going to push down through your hands and you'll feel a different part of your core engage as you lengthen those thighs. And we've got 3, we've got 2, we've got 1. Lower your knees down. Sit back for a moment. How bad was that? Yeah, right? So strange. The first one was like, damn. Okay, awesome. Okay, we're going to move on now. So we just did that way. Now you're going to lower your forearms down to the mat. Okay, so with forearms for today, I want you to either do with the arms parallel or you can interlace, but we're going to repeat that same thing that we started with. So the heart is going to melt to the floor and then it's going to push away. So the first part of that serratus push up. So heart melts between your shoulders and then you come back to your neutral and your heart melts and you come back to your neutral and your heart melts and you come back to your neutral. So we'll just take about 1 more of those. Awesome. All right. So the next time your heart is melting towards the floor, you're going to pause there. I want you to find as much space between your armpits and your hips as you can. So it's almost like somebody is pulling them away from each other while you keep hugging your shoulder blades together on your back. From there, slide your right foot back, tuck the toes under. Engage the core, slide the left foot back, tuck your toes under. Shift your weight forward for me a little bit, Erica. Squeeze the shoulder blades onto your back. Great, and then you'll want to see if you can drop your tuchus. So your butt should be in line with your shoulders. Oh yes, buddy man, but you're still squeezing those shoulder blades together on your back. We've got a 3, we've got a 2, we've got a 1. Lower your knees down. Awesome sauce. How bad was that? Okay, let's try last time, last set. So back to that forearms position, and you're gonna just try the upper part of the serratus push-up. So now you're gonna dome the upper back and then not dome and see if we can isolate it just to the upper spine. So this is gonna be harder here because your low belly is gonna wanna get involved. So see if we can just press so that the upper back, there you go, Barbara, upper back lifts and widens. And to do that, you're gonna have to really push down through your elbows more than you think. Awesome sauce. And then the next time you're rounded into that serratus position, find a position for your head that feels okay to you. And then step your left foot back, step your right foot back. And we want to make sure our weight is over our elbows and you're rounding through the upper spine. And then you're going to lengthen your tailbone back, squeeze your happy glutes. Lower your pelvis for me, Erica. Yep. Lower your pelvis for me, Barbara. Yep. And we're going to breathe for 3. Make sure your elbows are underneath your armpits for 2. For 1, gently lower down. Awesome sauce. Go ahead and sit up. And then we'll bring our hands back behind our low back. Interlace the hands and see if we can just open up the chest space. Okay, we good? Can we move on? Okay, let's come back to forearm plank. Actually, maybe I should, yeah, we'll do forearm plank first. Let's go ahead and come to forearm plank. So for this one, I will encourage you, we're gonna start with our arms in the number 11 shape. Take your right foot back, take your left foot back, and then take your right hand over to your left hand. Spin to the knife edge of your right foot, stack your left foot on top, bring your your left hand to your left hip. And I want you to lift your underbutt away from the floor as much as you can. So your right hip has to lift high. And we're saying hello to our side obliques. Yep, and we're breathing. And then when you're ready, you'll come back to forearm plank, back to forearm plank, both elbows down. And then this time you'll take your left hand towards the right. You'll stack your right hip on top of the left. You'll roll to the knife edge of that left foot, maybe stack the left foot on top. And everyone here, see if you can lengthen your tailbone down to your feet. You're squeezing your glutes, you're lifting that left hip. Hooray, we're breathing, I hope. And then very gently, we'll come back down to forearm plank. You'll hold for 3, you'll hold for 2, you'll hold for 1. Gently lower your knees down. Go ahead and sit back up and take a momentary pause. Okay, so we're gonna do something crazy now, which is gonna sound odd, but you guys are gonna be able to do this. So we're gonna come back to plank. We're gonna roll, and I encourage you to keep both feet on the floor instead of stacking them, and you're gonna bring one arm to the other. Then I'm gonna have you dip under, and you're gonna lift the foot that you don't wanna lift. So you're gonna lift the foot you don't wanna lift. It's gonna be the same foot as your front hand, okay? All right, let's go ahead and come forward. I love how they all just looked at me. They're like, what? I'm gonna lift the foot I don't wanna lift. Oh, I'm sure everybody at home was definitely like saying things under their breath. Okay, so now that you're here in plank probably feels like an easy place to be, surprisingly, after all that other stuff. Now let's roll to the right side. So bring both heels to the right. Draw your left hand to your right shoulder. Awesome. Draw your left elbow to your right elbow. So your left elbow to your right elbow. Yep. And then you're going to lift your right foot up. So it's the leg you don't want to lift, you're going to lift, and you're going to breathe for 3. Flex through that back foot, you're going to breathe for 2. And then gently lower down, come back to plank. Hooray, we're going to try that on the other side. Both heels go to the left. Your right hand comes to your left shoulder. Your right elbow goes to your left elbow. Your left leg hovers for 3, for 2, for 1. Hooray, lower the hand, lower the foot, come back to plank. We're going to do that again. Of course we are. Okay, so both feet over to the right. Left hand to right shoulder, left elbow to right elbow, right foot floats up for 3, for 2, for 1. Foot and hand come back down, come back to plank. Last set, best set, over to the left. Right hand touches left shoulder, right elbow goes to left elbow, left leg floats up for 3. Yep, 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 for 2. Yep, 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 for 1. Hooray, come back to plank. Lower down, you are done. You are done. You are done. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Robin should have given me this request. It's funny because she's not even here to do it. All right. Okay, so now we're going to sit on our butts. If you have a bony sacrum, I highly encourage you to sit on a blanket. If you have a bony sacrum, I highly encourage you to sit on a blanket. And this is something I learned from Christina Sell that I absolutely love, and I feel like I'm just going to steal for the rest of my life. It's a better way to get our core instead of getting our hip flexors. A lot of times when I go into Navasana, I don't feel my core at all. My hip flexors are just really crunched up, and I'm like, I don't like this position. She figured out a way where you don't have to do that. So you're going to bring your hands off to the side of your mat. I want you to slump like Mr. Burns. So we're having a really bad day. We didn't get a lot of money today. We're having a really bad day. And then you're going to push your hands down and forward until you can slide your butt bone forward towards your heels. And then it feels like you sort of slide back onto your butt. Like your sacrum's there, but your butt flesh has gone under, right? And you might need to come off the blanket. I just have a really bony butt. So now I want you to pay attention to what's happening at your feet. I want you to pay attention to what's happening in the core. See if you can close this space. So your front ribs get even closer to your pubic bone gets even closer to your front ribs. Do we start to feel our core a little bit more? Okay, let's flex through those feet. I want you to activate your legs as much as you can and squeeze them together. You're gonna have to round through your upper spine a whole hell of a lot more. Yep, and Roberta's making faces. And then you're gonna see if you can squeeze your legs so much that you can hover your legs 1 inch off the floor, but you're squeezing the front so much so that you don't feel this in your hip flexors for 3, oh, for 2, oh, for 1, heels come down, go ahead and sit up. Isn't that amazing? Did you feel it in your hip flexors? No. But in the core, it was like, I'm never going to make it through this. We're going to do it again. Of course we are. Okay, so hands alongside your hips once again. Slump like Mr. Burns. So start first by sitting up super tall, but then you just slump. You're like, this is really not going well. And then you're going to push down through your hands and slide your buttocks flesh forward. You're going to roll back onto your sacrum. And then you're going to start to flex through your feet. Now pay attention to this space between your pubic bone and your ribs. Let's see if you can close that space together. Then start to flex through your feet, hug them together, and then maybe you can hover them off the floor by squeezing this together even more for 3. Squeeze at the front ribs and pubic bone for 2. Squeeze for 1. Awesome. Sauce, heels come down. Go ahead and sit up. Oh, buddy, man, that's awesome. Okay, we're going to build on. Lay down on your back. Well, typically this way, but you just lay down because, yeah, they can't see you. All right, so that same action of that front ribs and pubic bone squeezing together is what we're going to do next. And I want you to bend both of your knees and plant your feet on the floor. And then you're going to bring your hands underneath your butt, making almost like a little diamond with your fingertips and thumbs. Or triangle, I guess that's not a diamond. It's like a Hershey kiss. And I want you to see if you can find it where your pubic bone now is sort of lifting up and forward to your belly. And then you're going to lift, or rather extend one leg long on the floor, and then extend the other leg long on the floor. Now, my people with low back stuff, this is going to be fun for you. And if you need to bend your knees, by all means, bend your knees. All of us are going to flex through our feet. We're going to draw our legs parallel and then hug them towards each other like the Dickens. Now, I want you to draw your pubic bone back, and your tailbone is going to slide forward until it feels like your low back is rounding a lot. And then you're going to hug your legs together, and you're going to lift them off the floor for 3. You're going to lift them off the floor for 2. We're going to hold here for 1. And then I want you to come up about 1 foot with the legs. Tailbone still scooping under. Squeeze those legs. Tailbone scooping under. So we're trying to keep this out of the hip flexors for 1. And then on your next in-breath, come up another foot. Yep. Squeeze your legs. Hug them towards each other. Flex through those feet. And then come all the way back up to vertical. So perpendicular. Great. Did we find our core through that? Were we using hip flexors at all? I got a no, I got a maybe. Okay, so we'll do that again, not to worry. All right, we're gonna go down this time. So to make sure you don't get your hip flexors, I want you to think of curling your low back into the floor a lot. Your tailbone will reach up and slightly forward. And if you need to adjust your hands, you do that. And then we'll go ahead and we'll reverse engineer that. So split the difference between here and the floor. Scoop that tailbone under, scoop the pubic bone up, squeeze your legs together, and then split the difference between there and the floor. Tailbone lengthens forward, low belly pulls in. Split the difference between there and the floor until you're hovering off the floor for 3, for 2, for 1, lower down. Hip flexors that time? Okay. Okay. Okay, so you want to curl that even more so that you don't get this. All right, we're going to do that one more time. So we're going to hug the legs together, scoop the pubic bone a lot. And then when you're ready, lift the legs, hug them in towards each other. Keep your feet active. The more you can Barbie point through your feet, so you're pushing out through the toes, that'll help. And then you'll lift up about a foot. Keep lengthening the tailbone under, squeezing the legs together, and then lift up about another foot. Squeeze and lift it, low belly presses into the floor, lift up another foot. And then come all the way up to perpendicular. Hip flexors. It's not ever your, no. Okay, and then we're gonna go this time, let's go ahead and just open our arms out to the right and to the left. Okay, don't worry, we're gonna go down in a moment, of course we are. I want you to keep flexing through your feet, hug your outer shin bones in, press up through the balls of your feet, take a big breath in, and then exhale, lower your hands towards your left, lower your hands, lower your feet towards your left hands. Yep, and then take a breath in there, and then come back up. Next exhale, go over to the other side, keep both shoulder blades on the floor, take a breath in there, And then come back up. And you got 2 more just like that. So we're working to keep the opposite shoulder rooted, and you're working to press the bottom leg into the top leg as you go down, as you come up. And it doesn't have to be big to be impactful. Sandy, draw your feet closer to your hands. Awesome sauce. And we're really trying to aim those feet, those toes to our fingertips. Yep, and then you'll come back up. There you go, Erica. Awesome sauce. And after you've done 3, you'll come back to center. Your hands will come back under your tuchus. And make sure you're curving that low back so that it feels stable for you. And then we'll slowly lower, split the difference between there and the floor. Squeeze the feet, lengthen the tailbones, hug the legs in, lower the distance between there and the floor. Hug the legs in, lengthen the tailbone, split the difference between there and the floor. Squeeze the legs, squeeze the belly, lower the distance between there and the floor. So now we'll hover for 3. We'll hover for 2. And for 1, release. Are we okay? Yeah, I got some breaths. Okay, and some laughs, so I guess we're okay. All right, last little core thing before we try to invert ourselves. I know, we're doing it the safe way. So when you're ready, go ahead and bend both knees. Cross your right leg on top like you're sitting in a cute dress. So, yep. Oh, take your arms out from underneath your pelvis. Draw your knees towards your chest, so both feet are off the floor. Now stack your hands on top of your right thigh bone. Hands on top of your right thigh bone. Well, that's clear as mud. So push both palms into just your right thigh. Awesome sauce. Okay, now I want you to notice how you can just keep your elbows bent here, and you can push your hands into your thighs, right? Here's one sensation, and then you can kick your thighs back into your hands, right? We feel that that engages one part of our core. Notice what happens if you straighten your arms. Still pushing knees into hands, hands into knees, imprint low back, and we got laughs and grimaces. So you want to see if you can still lengthen your tailbone down and away from your head. The low belly's pulling up, and press for 3, press for 2, press for 1, release, knees into chest. I know, right? Like, what the heck? Okay, and then we'll go ahead and switch sides when you're ready. And again, we're just going to start. So first, the knees are pretty close to the chest. The elbows are bent. And you're just going to push your hands in your happy left thigh and the left thigh into the hands. And you're just noticing what this feels like. And I want you to imprint that low back like dear life for dear life. And then start to straighten your arms and notice what that feels like. And the breath has become more engaged. And we're going to breathe. And we're going to pause. We're going to breathe. And then you'll gently release. And of course, we're going to do that again. So, yeah. I love that look. Roberta just looked at me like, really? All right. So last set, you can do whichever version you wanted, whether you liked the elbows bent or you liked the elbows straight. It's totally up to you, but you're going to do it for 3 breath cycles. And the engagement really needs to be in that core space. So we're wanting to keep it isolated between the pubic bone and the lowest ribs. And after you've done 3 breath cycles, then you'll release that. You'll hug the knees in, and we'll do the other side. Happy days, happy days, happy days. And then as you're ready, you'll try the left side. And you just pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe and you pause and you breathe. And after you've done 3 breath cycles there, you'll release. And this time I want you to extend your legs long and your arms over your head, and you're going to stretch and wiggle and arch and yawn to say hello, core. Hello, core. Hello, core. Great. And you've got 3 more breath cycles doing whatever the heck you happen to be doing before I'm going to ask you to roll over and sit up. So if you feel like you need to do something else before we roll over and sit up, please do that. And then when you're ready, you'll roll over and we'll sit up. Now it's at this point that we're gonna have to go to a wall space. So we're gonna open up our curtains on our end. People at home, please go find a wall space. Oh, it's automatic.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, that's what I thought we were gonna do. So I was like, oh, this will take us a little bit of time. Okay, so we're gonna then take our stuff and go over to the wall. So Sandy, your wall space looks good. Can you take your mat to the wall? Laura, I cannot see your wall space, but wow, that is like noticeably brighter all of a sudden. So Barbara, come this way instead. Go closer to Erica. You don't have to worry about TV. Okay, and so then once we're at the wall, Sandy looks good. Laura, Steve. I wonder if I need to demo this. We're just going to do handstand for our first one. Do I need to demo that, or do we think we all got that?
The technique and the form. So people can see Jensen.
Or what if we just turn that computer? Oh, okay. Jenny, can I use your mat, or should I use Erica's? Well, just because it's further away too. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do what we normally did. So we're gonna start a down dog. We're just gonna kick up to the wall. We're gonna use all the things. I know it's been a while since we've been in, but we're gonna press down. We're gonna separate our legs. We did that in Shalabhasana. I want you to notice my butt can be lazy, or I can squeeze my butt and lift up, and then I'm gonna hug my legs together. And we're gonna see if we can do that. And theoretically, if you hug your legs in enough, you might hover away from the wall. We don't care if we hover away from the wall. We're just gonna lift our butts, squeeze our legs, push the floor away. Okay, well, we'll find out. It's been a long time since we've been in handstand, especially as a group. So let's see how that goes. Well, we did a crap ton of core. So theoretically, so you're gonna just start in your down dog shape. And actually, let's stay here in our down dog shape for a little bit. Everybody, I want you to bend your knees, just because I realized I skipped that part of the sequence. Bend your knees in your down dog and separate your feet about hip distance apart. And then I want you to push your hands down and forward like we did when we were in that serratus push-up. And just notice what it feels like to push down and forward through the hands, push down through your index finger, and then lift up through your happy inner armpits, like we did when we were finding the other serratus push-up. And then your buttocks flesh, as weird as this sounds, think of drawing your buttocks flesh up to your hip bones and then down to the floor. Awesome sauce. Great, if that feels good to you, you might stay there. You might start to walk your feet in and then kick one leg up and then take the other leg up with you. So don't think about it, just go to the wall. Yep, don't think about it, just go to the wall. Yep, don't think about it, just go to the wall. Yep, awesome. And if you've tried that a few times, you'll go ahead and maybe try the other. Nice job, guys. Yep, nice Barbara, nice Erica, nice Roberta, nice Jenny. Yep, and then once you've done enough of those, you'll just go ahead and come down and we'll try that again. Rest in child's pose for a moment, and we'll try that again. I definitely can do that. Cool. So we're after our little child's pose, each person, well, not every person, but if you have a question, we're going to ask questions and we're going to try that again. So I already got one question about the shoulders and upper back. Oh, yep. Okay. Well, let me ask them. People at home, do you have any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to ask the two questions or answer the two questions I got here. People at home, are we good? I got a thumbs up from Steve, got a thumbs up from Laura. I think those are thumbs up from Sandy. Okay, so the request was about the shoulders and the upper back. May I use your mat, Erica? So just like we did when we were in our serratus push-ups, you just need to push the floor away so much, so that that is literally, that position is staying on my back even when I go to downward facing dog. I'm still pushing, and my shoulder blades, they're not, let's see, how can I do that? They're not doing the sad cows. They're still engaged, because if they're not engaged, there's no way in hell I'm going to be able to support my weight. So that's the first thing, is we need to keep them no sad cows. Second thing we need to pay attention to is once we are trying to do that, this is weird, Erica. I'm like, what? Okay. So I'm going to put that thing directly underneath my face. Once we push the floor away, the next thing that we need to notice is that if we're going to lift the leg, we have to shift our weight forward. So it's really hard for me to lift a leg if my shoulders are not already over my wrist. If my hands are forward and my shoulders are up here, I'm just going to not be able to kick up. You want to try it again? Okay. So let's go ahead and try that again. So find your not sad California cows, but your happy cows. And really, if you just spend a moment in downward facing dog and it's, yep, you're just pushing back. Oh, I'm really cold, sorry. And you're just pushing back. That looks good. And then you might start to lift one leg up and then shifting the shoulders over the wrists and then maybe kicking up. Better, Erica. Roberta. Better, Erica. You touched the wall. Nice, Erica. Yep, good, Barbara. So Barbara, come forward even more and you're just push the floor away. Good, Erica. Nice, Roberta. Nice, Erica. Yep. And after you've done it three or four times. All right, everyone rest in child's pose. You sure? Mm-hmm. She's curled in a ball, but she's okay. I'm fine. Okay. I'm fine. Okay. All right. All right. Maybe we're done with that for the day. Well, I don't like people being hurt, so, or falling out of things. So let's go ahead and rest in child's pose. And we'll see how that's going. Good, Sandy, good, Steve. Yeah. Great. Awesome. And then we'll go ahead and sit up. And I want to do a check-in. I had one other thing planned before we started to wrap up, but I don't know if we should do it now. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm going to leave this up to you. If you would like to do forearm stand, we're going to do forearm stand. If you would like to just do handstand, again, we'll do that. If you'd like to do none of the above, we're going to lay with legs up the wall, just so that we've got an inversion going on. Okay, so this next one for forearm stand, I wonder if I need to take this off. So we're going to do it. Erica, can I have your block? Yeah. So we've got two options. You can do it with your block, and you're going to push the block firm into the wall. You're going to lift your elbows, hug them in a little bit more than your shoulders, push down and spread wide until your skin catches the mat. And then just like we did as our little Halloween cats, you really need to round through the upper back so that you can push and lift up. And you might just stay here in dolphin, really widening through the back. And this is option number one. You can stay with this and kick up. For me personally, I prefer to not use the block and do all the same actions as before, rounding through the spine, pushing down, and then to lift up. And then you're still gonna maybe lift up one leg and the other leg. And you notice that I have to push down a lot. My chest has to come forward, and then I have to see if I can lift up through my armpits. From there, I might lengthen or widen the legs, lift my tuchus, and hug the legs towards each other. The more I'm able to do that, I can press down, squeeze the legs together, and slowly come out. Questions? No? Okay, give it a shot. If you do not wish to do any of that, handstand is an option. Lying on your back with your legs up a wall is also an option. And so you might want to try both ways, and you're just going to see how it goes. Now, for those that are working in forearm stand, you want to make sure before you go anywhere that your shoulders are over your elbows, that you're rounding into your back a lot. Yep. And then you might just lift one leg and you might just stay there. You might lower it down and you might try the other one. Nice, Barbara. You might lift both, but you're just paying attention to what feels appropriate to you. Nice, Barbara. That's the highest that you get. Okay, pause. Yeah. Okay, so when you do that again, let's see if you can draw your elbows in just a little bit so that you can widen here.
So they're coming more this
So just, you want to have them there, but they end up spreading wide, so you just come in a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, nice, Barbara. And we don't have to worry about the legs just yet. Just push down into the floor and see if you can find cat in your upper back. So round, yep. There you go, Barbara. And then you're gonna rest in child's pose when you're done. You're gonna rest in child's pose when you're done. You're gonna rest in child's pose when you're done. Awesome, sauce. And then we're gonna slowly come up to sit. And then we'll turn around and face the middle of the space. All right. Well, we did a lot of hard work. That surprisingly worked out most of the time. Yeah, I can see me. And you're gonna sit on your butts. Sit on your butts. We're gonna do just a simple twist. So let's go ahead and tuck our right knee under. Left foot on top. And then I want you to just hug this leg in close, hug it with your right elbow, left hand out to the left, and just a simple, gentle twist. And you're focusing on really rooting your left hip into the floor, lifting up through the left shoulder, wrapping the left shoulder back, the right shoulder blade forward, the low belly scoops on that left side. Nice work. And you just got 2 more breath cycles here. See if you can lift the sternum and the heart, maybe soften the gaze. And then you'll gently unwind and go the other way. And you'll just pause and you'll breathe. And just notice what you notice. Inversions can be fun because they can get a lot of energy moving very quickly, but we want to make sure that we're winding down. And then on your next in-breath, gently unwind. And you guys will lay down on your backs. You'll turn around. And then the first thing that we'll do is, as we're making our way onto the backs, if you feel like you want to wrap yourselves up en route, you might want to do that because we are getting ready to wind down. And the first thing that we'll do is you'll just, once you're wrapped up, you'll bend your knees and you'll plant your feet onto the floor. And we'll just take Suphi Randrasana. So you'll cross your right ankle over the top of your left. You'll flex through that foot and draw the knees towards each other, or rather towards your chest. And you might hold on in the back of that thigh, front of your shin bone. You might be still, you might be moving around a little bit, but You're noticing how that outer hip feels. And then gently you'll release that. And we'll try the other side. So left foot on top. Make sure that left foot is active and flexed. Yep. And you're coming back to the breath, noticing what it feels like. And then you'll gently release that. Bring both feet to the floor. Bring your hands alongside your hips, and you can either bend the elbows or keep the arms straight. It's totally up to you. But you'll inhale, push down through the feet, push down through the arms, lift your hips. Walk the shoulder blades underneath you, maybe interlace the hands. And you'll press the arms down if they're straight. You'll press down into your pinky toes. You'll press down into your big toes, and you'll slide your tailbone forward to your knees. Scoop the pubic bone up to the belly. Lift the sternum. Tuck your chin just slightly, Erica. Here you go. And then gently, you'll release your hands. You'll bring your pelvis back down to the floor. From here, you'll take the supine twist of your choice. So you might have eagle legs as we had earlier. You might have one leg straight. You might do the figure 4, but you're going to take whatever twist you want. You're just going to pause and you're going to breathe. And then gently you'll release that to come back through center, and you'll do the other side. And take a few breaths there. And then you'll gently come back through center. And then I want you to check in with your body and see if there's any final shape and or shapes that feel like they might be super duper awesome to you. And if that is the case, you'll just take those final shapes. And you'll just allow yourself to gently unwind. Okay. And then as you find yourself in your final shape, I encourage you to take the time and take the opportunity to really set yourself up in a way that enables you to feel really supported. It allows you to feel really comfortable. So you might adjust and wiggle a little bit. Great. And then we're going to end today with a little bit of pranayama on our back. Hopefully it doesn't cause us to go to sleep, but it will be good for our nervous system. So I want you to just focus on noticing how the body feels now. Notice how the breath feels now, how your state of being feels now. No judgment, just taking an inventory. And then we're going to take these about 4 sets. So when you're ready, you'll start to elongate your inhalation. So it'll be 4 counts. And you'll elongate your exhalation. So it'll be 4 counts. And you'll just do 4 of those. So 4 counts in and 4 counts out. And you're just trying to make the breath as smooth, as seamless, as even, and as steady as you can. After you've done 4 sets, you'll still inhale for 4. You'll exhale for 4. And you'll pause out for maybe 3 or 4 counts, whatever allows it to be effortless and easy. So it's 4 counts in, 4 counts out, pause on empty for 3 or 4 counts. And you'll know if you paused too long because your next inhale will feel rushed. After this next pause, you'll then inhale for 6, and you'll exhale for 6. And again, you're just attempting to let the breath be as smooth, as steady, as even as possible. And you'll just take 4 cycles of that in for 6 and out for 6. And then the last set that we'll do for today is you'll inhale for 6, you'll exhale for 6, and you'll pause out for 5 or 6. And the retention out, the kumbhaka out, doesn't need to be super long. It's just a momentary pause. What's more important is that the next in-breath is still smooth and easy. And the exhale is complete and deep. And you'll just do 4 sets of those. In for 6, out for 6, pause for 5 or 6. After you've completed 4 sets, just allow your awareness to rest in your abdomen. So with the awareness in the abdomen, you just simply watch the natural flow of the breath in and out of the body. You might find that before you can do that, you have to take a few natural breaths, and if so, do that. And then just let the awareness rest in the abdomen. And anytime the mind wanders, no worries. You simply notice that and bring it back to the movement of the breath as it enters and exits the abdomen. Gently return your awareness. With the body still still, I want you to just notice what you notice. Notice your mental, physical, emotional, spiritual sense of self. Notice what you notice. If there's any part of you that would like to linger here for a little bit longer, by all means, just go ahead and hang out here. When you are ready to move forward, invite some small, gentile movement into the body. From there, you might start to stretch and wiggle and yawn in any way that feels good to you. And then you'll gently make your way to your right side. You'll pause on your side for just a few breaths, giving yourself the opportunity to really receive and connect to the support beneath you. Or it's almost like a symbol of the support that we have in all aspects of our life. If only we give ourselves a moment to just touch it, to receive it, to notice it. Gently, you'll start to make your way up to a tall, comfortable seat. And then take the opportunity to sit up on a block, on a blanket, anything that lets the spine be vertical and the breath be a little bit easier. And when you are vertical, I encourage you to sit well. So if that means you need to fidget a little bit until you feel comfortable, until it feels like your heart can come forward, that your shoulder blades are really supporting the opening of your heart. And then we'll end the way that we began. So we started with just a few audible breaths out. So you'll gently exhale all the breath. Big breath in and out. Last one. Gently bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Press the palms into each other. Receive the weight of the thumbs into your sternum and then lift your heart towards your thumbs. Soften the chin towards your throat just slightly. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Om. To that light, to that breath, and to that sound we bow. Namaste.